welcome back to On The Collector with me, Jace, and I'm here today with this big fella sat next to me, and we're going to be doing the review on the Infinity Studios 1/1 scale Nazgul, or Ringwraith if you prefer. And here he is. And as you can see, he's pretty bloody big, and he's extremely impressive, very impressive. And so yeah, so we're going to be doing the review today. I'm going to be going handheld. I'm also going to be using a little bit of the footage I did when I did the unboxing, just because I don't want to be messing around with this too much, because, well, we'll get into it, because this is the very first piece I've had from Infinity Studios, and I had exceptionally high expectations because I'd read a lot of good stuff about Infinity, and whereas I'm extremely pleased with this piece, it does come with its issues, and it does come with a couple of flaws, which we'll get into. Now, a lot of people have asked me, I don't like to discuss money too much, but this about shipping and import fees, I can only discuss obviously UK and what I've paid, and I've paid pretty much the highest I've ever had to pay on shipping and import fees for something. But then again, this is the biggest and heaviest piece I've ever had. It weighs 60 kilograms, as you saw if you watched the unboxing. It comes in 2 huge boxes. I had this come from Singapore. I had to come through a distributor, and I put zero blame on either Infinity Studios or the distributor for what I've had to pay in shipping, which was FedEx, and what I've had to pay in import fees. Now, I was actually sent 3 bills by FedEx. There was a bill of about £140 per box, and then there was £199 tax. So it came in 3 separate bills. A total of about £450 for the import, on the import fees and the tax side of things, which I've got to be honest was more than I was expecting to pay, but as was the shipping, which was... It was over £1,000 to ship this, which is way, way, way more than I've ever paid. I was absolutely shocked when I got that. I did actually check myself, because Randy had sent me the boxes and the weights and the dimensions. And unfortunately, that was the price. I couldn't really organise or find anything cheaper. So just be aware, for any of you who are thinking of getting this, or indeed getting anything that is big and heavy, I would highly recommend you go through someone or through a company that can give you a shipping fee, or at least give you an estimate. For the half scale Witch King, for example, I've gone through Comic Concepts and they've given me a shipping estimate off the bat. So that's, at least that's something. You don't have the awful shock that I had when I got the shipping fee. And I say then the imports and taxes to come through, and say I paid a bit more on them, but it is what it is. It's as I've always said, I'm not going to sit here and whinge and complain about it. I've chose to buy it. This is what comes with it. Although I must admit, it arrived quick because it came by plane and what have you. But for over £1,000, I want the last Andean condors to fly it here and drop it on my drive for that amount of money. Anyway, let's crack on with the review on this. So I'm going to go handheld. I'm also going to have to use a little bit of footage that I used the other day, because obviously we will need to look at the watchtower of Amun-Sul, which is all hidden under here. And I'm not going to lift him off just to show you that when I've already got some footage showing it. Okay, folks, I'm going to start with the base, obviously. Now, a lot of people, well, I'll say a lot of people, a few people said they didn't like that little Lord of the Rings plaque on the front. I personally do. I think it's nice. However, some of you may have picked up when I actually took this out of the box. This is my first gripe with this piece, with Infinity, really. I had really high expectations of Infinity Studios, maybe a little high, I don't know, but for me, this rock area and this grass, I'll get in a little bit closer so you can see, it's very basic. It's very basic, and I wasn't, when I took it out of the box, overly impressed, and I'm not now, to be honest. Now, fortunately, it doesn't really affect the overall effect, if you see what I mean, of it, because the huge, immense size of the Nazgul is what demands all the attention anyway. But for me, I mean, there's no real detail there. Look, can you see? There's no detail there. There's no real care with the paint application to my eyes. Maybe I'm being overly picky. I don't think I am. And also the paint that's been used, it's got like a slight shine to it, which makes it look, I'm afraid to say, very plasticky, and on the rocks as well. Just looks very shiny and plasticky, giving it a somewhat, I've got to say, cheap toy effect. And yeah, for me, this is probably my biggest gripe about the piece, is this area here. I'm not impressed with it. Is the simple truth. I wasn't impressed when I took it out of the box, and I've spent a bit of time looking at it and going around it and asking myself the question: am I being too picky? And I don't think I am. I think I expect more. I expect more. If this was Prime One Studios, people would be slating it up and down. But yeah, anyway. Sorry, Infinity, but that's this area of the base is a thumbs down for me. Now, moving up into the Watchtower of Amon-Sul, and yes, it really does look cool. It really does look cool. Looking through there, looking through the gap. Now, a lot of people said, oh, I'm going to display this without the Nazgul on. Of course, it's entirely up to the individual if that's what you want to do. Personally, I don't think when any of you get this that you're going to be doing that, because, as I've just said, the base surround is very, very basic and not overly impressive. The watchtower itself on the top is way more impressive. I had no issue putting this together without using the instructions, guys. Pretty much every single piece on me fit in its allocated slots. But there is an unboxing video that Infinity have done, and it does come with instructions, and every single piece is numbered. But yeah, I quite enjoyed finding where all the pieces went. But for me, you are not going to, I can't see anybody wanting to display this without the Nazgul on the top. And for me, this, what you can see through, really is a good little effect on the top there. It really is a nice little effect, and it looks really good. And I've found it really eye-catching, which is what makes this so annoying. Look how cool that looks, and then, ace, see what I mean? See what I mean? Right, now, I have got some footage which I did on the unboxing of the actual whole area of the Amon-Sul. So I'm going to play that through with a fresh voiceover on it. So I'll cut to that now, guys, and then we'll get back to the rest of this. I've got to say I enjoyed assembling this. I didn't use the instructions. The pieces are all numbered. But I enjoyed just finding where everything went, and pretty much from what I could see, everything will only fit in its own slot, so you can't put it together wrong. I do like the look of all this. It looks very good. You've got that central plate there, obviously, if you choose to not display it with the Nazgul, although I honestly can't see anyone who's going to take that option, really. But yeah, it's a nice bit of detail up there. They've done a really good job. The top area here is certainly far superior to the rest of the base, and it looks nice with the Nazgul when it's on it. There's enough detail in there, you can shine the torch in and see the extra stuff, and a good job all round here. I'm very impressed with this additional area of detail on the top, the Watchtower of Amon-Sul. So Infinity have done a spectacular job there. Okay, I think that's it. Back to me. Okay, so yeah, that's it really for the base, everyone. There isn't a great deal more to tell you. Big thumbs up for the watchtower on the top there. I love the way it looks, looking through from the arms there. Really, really nice effect. However, unfortunately, the rock and the plank area around it, to me, it's plastic toy. It's plastic. It looks like a plastic toy. No better than that. And I expect a heck of a lot more for my money, and from a company that's got the exemplary reputation that Infinity have. So, yeah. And I like the plaque. Okay, moving up onto the gauntlets. These arms are exceptionally heavy, and I had an issue putting the pin in on the left arm here. The right one went in relatively straightforward enough. The left one, I had quite a bit of job getting it in, and in the end I had to use a tack hammer. So I wouldn't be surprised if more people maybe have an issue with that, and I hope not, but I wouldn't be surprised, and I'd certainly would expect maybe at least one to come where the hole is not aligned, is out of alignment enough that you simply can't get the pin in. So you'll either have to mark it and just drill your own hole, or I don't know, send the arm back. I don't quite know what you do, because I believe these holes must be drilled when the arms are in alignment. But if the arms get mixed up, I could see that whole alignment being an issue, but time will tell. Yeah, the sculpt and the weathering on these gauntlets here is absolutely fantastic, and it's obviously it's the same up the arms all the way to the top. Guys, I am not undressing this. I will tell you why in a bit. I found the detail on the arms and everything to be exceptional. Very well done, very impressed. I mean, it's just the size of it which really blows me away. But I've got zero complaints with the sculpt and the paint applications that have been done here on the gauntlets, which they're detailed all the way up to the shoulder, and you've got the pauldrons on the top. But for me, I think if you were to be displaying this with the sleeves rolled up, I don't know, guys. I think it would look a bit daft. I honestly think it would look a bit daft. But again, that's up to the individual. For me, this being displayed as it is like this is perfectly fine. And if people want to come, it is pretty easy just to have a look and see that it's detailed all the way. Now, on to the sword. Oh, how we all wished and dreamed for a metal sword. I don't know what this sword is made of. I'm going to guess it's vinyl, because it's cold to the touch. I said that on the unboxing, but it is very light. No more than, I would say, a couple of 3 pounds in weight. So I would have to guess that this is maybe vinyl. The detail is pretty accurate, bang on. The overall effect, the pitting and the old look of the metal is acceptable. It's acceptable. But again, the fact that it's not metal, I mean, it would have been, I suppose, a lot more work if this was metal. I suppose they've always got that issue of, I don't know, would it be classed as a weapon? I suppose it has to be, really. So could they even have done it in metal? I don't know. UC seem to do it all right. But, you know, they would have had to have shaped it correctly, and they would have had to have made it look old and worn. So the overall effect, you know, when you look at this at a distance, the sword looks fine, but again, I'm mildly disappointed that this sword isn't metal, that it is very light, and I think that will be a running theme for people who get this in, that yeah, maybe not going to be overly impressed that the sword didn't come as metal, but I don't know, again, maybe I'm being a little bit picky on that one. Now, really, the only thing left to discuss are the robes. Now, the robes themselves, he looks good. Nazguls are Nazguls. I have said many, many times that Nazgul, as they are, it's difficult to make these things look in any way impressive. They are just a black cloak. They are a black cloak with armoured gauntlets and a sword. That is it. Infinity have done as good a job as could be expected here. I do like how they've done the head. Does that come in? I'm trying to get an angle here so you can see. You can just see the plate at the back there, but if you come at the right angle, especially with the sword in the way, and I've got a light shining right at this as well, guys, the effect there of the hood and everything does look really impressive. Really impressive. It really does. I do like the way they've engineered that and done that. The robes themselves done well, and the overall effect, as you can see, it looks good, and it is huge. Now, I'm going to discuss these robes to save any of you getting this. These robes come in 3 different pieces. Now, you've got the first one you put on. When you put the mannequin on, you've got basically like the top, the one with the sleeves here, which you need to put on the mannequin first. And then feeding the one arm, I think I went with the right arm first. You have to roll the sleeves up, put the arm on. And then there's a vest. I don't know if you can see, there's a vest in there. You probably see it better. You can just see the lace work there. Great, you know, brilliant attention to detail. They put that on. They use those lace vests that you've probably seen when you've watched any like medieval films. It's got proper leather ties on it and everything. Put that on when you've only got one arm on, because when you've got two arms on, those hands are so tightly clasped together. I had to sort of wiggle them to get it on. I don't want to disrupt the clothes. There, can you see the vest in there? Then put that on. That's simple and straightforward enough. Now this hooded area, oh God, the mare I had with this. There's like a little cap inside there, which you need to put on like the headpiece which is in there. You then need to get this folded edge. There's a folded edge. This needs to be on the outside. And then you fold the material back in on itself, which is where all that frayed stuff is. And that frayed stuff, basically, it covers up the cap. And it does its best to darken the area in there. So you can't see, basically in the back, you can't see that there, which you can see now, that little, the peg which the cap sits on. So it was a good idea that they did that. And then what you need to do then is bring the sides round, almost like a shawl, or if you're like wearing a scarf, and bring them down and then tuck them down the sides by the arms. And then I've tucked mine, obviously, just away from the front, so it reveals the watchtower. You see how cool that looks? Doesn't that look cool? I hope I'm holding this camera steady for you all. I do apologise. This is the first time I've done a review on something with the scale of this. And then simply slump it over the shoulders and then round the back as so. So there you go. That's it really. Now I thought this review was going to be a heck of a lot longer, but when you break it down for such a long unboxing, it's not really a great deal to talk about, to go over. So I hope I've covered that okay. But anyway, let's summarise, shall we? Let's summarise. Oh guys, I almost forgot. Yeah, the little extras you get. Look at that, you get a pair of infinity gloves. You get that black thing, which is a brush. I don't know what on earth you're supposed to do with it. It's like a thing that I used to have something similar that you used to clean your lenses with on your binoculars. And then you get this, oh, is that in focus? This tool as well, which I'm not quite sure what that's for. So if anyone knows what the brush thing's for, just cleaning I suppose, and what this tool's for, I'd love to know. Answers on a postcard please. But fantastic quality on these things, really is. Lovely quality. The writing on there. Brilliant. Fantastic. Love little things like that. Okay, so there we go. A relatively short review, really. I thought this would take quite a lot longer given how long it took to do the unboxing, but it really hasn't because it's a Nazgul. This is the thing with Nazguls. There's not a great deal you can talk about. And I suppose we've got to discuss about the fact that it's mixed media, and a lot of people have said that they would prefer this to be sculpted. Now, I totally get where you're coming from. But I honestly, having this next to me and having gone through the annoyance of getting all this media on and getting it on right and getting it to look good, I've got to move this upstairs. I'm going to try and move it without disrupting these robes. I've got to say, for something the size and scale of this, it would not have worked. I've seen so many sculpted Nazguls. I think the best sculpted one I've ever seen is on the Escape Off the Road. That one on there is exemplary. And taking how good that sculpt is and the weathering they've done, were you to put that level on this, it wouldn't look as good as these. It just looks, I mean, it's real. It's real. It looks real. I'm sat here next to it and I'm expecting that head to turn and it to go, Baggins, Shire. And it's fantastic. Now, I've picked out a few flaws with this because I had really high expectations. I have high expectations for all the pieces I get. They cost a hell of a lot of money to buy, And as we've already discussed, they cost a hell of a lot of money to ship, and then they cost us money again to pay all the epoxy and import fees on them. So when they come and they're not perfect, it's annoying. A lot of the stuff on there, I can understand why the sword's not metal. It's disappointing that it's not metal, but I can understand why it isn't. And so I'm really not going to hold that against them too much. I think it would have given the overall feel of the quality of this piece more weight. Had it been metal, I think it would have been greatly appreciated by every person who gets this more were it metal, because I think everybody was asking that question. So, yeah, I'm sure they had their reasons to not do it. Maybe it was just too much work. Maybe it was just too risky because potentially you're sending a weapon. Whatever. The only major gripe I have got about this piece to infinity is I can't understand why this isn't of better quality, because it to me, to my eye, this is very mediocre. That base surround is. Fortunately, he is so impressive, you don't really notice it. You don't really notice it. And having that nice little watchtower just glinting through there really does draw your eye in. So fantastic little concept that they've done, and I really appreciate that they have done it. And I say, for anyone who was thinking of maybe setting this up separate to that base, trust me, when you get this, you are not going to do it. There is no way I could see anyone in a collection having something as impressive as this and that is going to display that on its own. No way. Not without getting this completely repainted. Score. I've thought long and hard about this, because I was real star-eyed. Infinity Studios, my first piece, and I was all buzzing when I opened this up. I was so excited, but I've tried to be sensible and calm and give an honest score. Well, you know everything. All my reviews, I'm brutally honest, and I'm going to give this 8 out of 10. And I'm going to be honest with you. I was going to mark it a little bit lower. I was going to give it about 7.5, which would be the lowest I've ever marked anything in my collection. But I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. And the reason I'm giving it the 8, and I'm not giving it, is the presence of this. And it's the same reason why I would recommend this to anyone that's thinking of getting this, despite the flaws that I've picked out. And there are issues and there are flaws. That base is not great. It's adequate, but it's not great. I can see these pins proving an issue for people, and the clothes, the media is a bloody nightmare to put on, and it makes a frigging mess. I was 20 minutes over in my carpet, so it needed doing anyway. So don't worry about that one, Infinity. It's fine. It's fine. So, love how they've engineered this. I love the fact that you can literally, I was sat there last night gazing at it, and you could look in and you could see like the collar of the armour there and nothing else, and it looked spectacular. It really did. And every angle, it's a Nazgul, it's a full-scale Nazgul in your house. And I mean, a lot of these robes, I'm sure this up. I mean, they've even muddied and marked the robes up. They have gone to a lot of work with these robes. It's not just media, because I think this was about 1,100 and something pound. I can't remember exactly what I paid for it. And people were saying, well, is it actually worth that money? I know it's 1:1 scale, but at the end of the day, it's a pair of hands and a sword, and that's it really. And it's just cloth, which is a fair comment, because that's pretty much what it is. But I don't regret one penny I've spent getting this here in my house. Even the ludicrous shipping and the something of a piss take import fee price, but tax office. There we go. That's my review of the 1:1 scale Ringwraith bust by Infinity Studios, my very first Infinity Studios purchase, and I'm looking forward to my second Infinity Studios purchase coming sometime, hopefully I think next year. There we have it, everyone. That's my review. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm afraid it feels to me at the end of here now that it's been a little bit of a sort of a short review really. I expected it to run a bit longer, but it's the nature of the beast when you do Nazguls. We're talking about a black coat and a pair of armoured gloves and a sword, and a non too impressive base in this case. And that rhymes. So there's not much else left for me to say. Other than, if you've enjoyed the video, guys, please consider giving the video a thumbs up. If you're new, you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel, because it really mega helps. Anything you want to ask or anything you want to discuss, as always, guys, please shove it in the comments. You know I love to hear from you all, and I do try to get back to each and every one of you. That's it for this episode. So the next video will probably, well, the next video now will be next week. Have a great weekend, everyone, and I'll catch you next week sometime. Take care. Ta-ra. And thanks for watching. And I just wanted to show you quickly, I've just got him up the stairs without too much difficulty, although he's exceptionally heavy with them arms on. Exceptionally heavy. Again, I highly recommend 2 people. But there he is. I've put him on the centre plinth. There's another one on order coming for alerts. Alerts will go on that. I've put him there because that Nazgul is just so much heavier and so much harder to move. So he will be staying there. So there we go. You can see him there next to alerts, and then I need to get another bust which will go next to that, and maybe another one that side. I don't know yet. I'll have to see. But anyway, there we are. What do you think? And by the way, just so you know, this is the end of my bed. So I wake up every morning to a life scale Nazgul and alerts looking over my bed. I'm going to be single forever. Okay, take care everyone. Bye.